VGK loses home ice advantage, our analysis on what went wrong in game number 1 and what adjustments the Golden Knights need to make to tie this series up with Winnipeg on Thursday night.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Yes, that's right. Chris Golick is back in Las Vegas. Welcome home. And you can find us on Twitter at Locked On VGK, at Tony Dasco, at TD Chris G. Locked On Golden Knights is the place to be on your YouTube channel, and please subscribe there. We are brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. So what went wrong last night? VGK, the champions of the Pacific Division, regular season conference champions, fall in the opener of the first round of the series against Winnipeg, and the final was 5-1. And, just going back and reflecting on this game, you have to first of all credit Rick Bowness for clogging up the neutral zone. His Winnipeg Jets out-hustled. They out-forechecked the VGK. They won most of the puck battles. There were no breakouts and no odd man rushes for the Vegas Golden Knights, save one or two. Most disappointing, you would have to say, is the fact that VGK, Chris, played without intensity.
It was definitely a non-competitive game, and it is good to be back. Reno, I'm sure maybe you'll ask me about it later, but good to be back in Vegas. Reno isn't
talk
quite
about
what it
Reno.
used to be.
We could talk about it now. The VGK bowling ball.
What's that?
The VGK bowling ball.
That's my spare ball. Yes, that's my spare ball for my single piece spares and stuff like
you
that.
You got the shirt with the VGK logo, your bowling shirt.
It's a mock VGK because our group is Bad Decisions. That's the name of our group that goes to these little bowling things every year. And we live by our shirts. And a lot of people ask me, especially the people in my sports card groups, they're like, "Hey, how was bowling?" And my response, "I drank." "Oh, did you have a good time?" "I drink." So good. It was fun. We kind of got, for lack of a better term, our balls kicked in.
Who had more intensity? Your team up in Reno, like a little liquored up, or the VGK on the ice last night?
Probably us, but it's because we're doing bad things and making bad decisions.
Okay.
The Golden Knights could have made some different types of bad decisions last night if we're going to transition now. So rough game. I only was able to really sit down and watch about I listened to the last 10 minutes of the second, and I watched most of the third period. So I was able to kind of focus in on that. And you made a lot of good points there about the neutral zone, nowhere to go. Credit Winnipeg. You have to credit the Jets. Like all the Golden Knight fans that are flipping out right now, and let's credit the Winnipeg Jets. It's okay. It's okay not to be the better team for one game of the series. It's going to be just fine. And, I made me and you, Tony, have talked horse racing, obviously, plenty on this show. And think about the horse that's had a long layoff or maybe a small injury where they had to not race for 6 months or something like that. And then here come, the stakes races that they normally race, not the Derby necessarily, just big races, around the country and stuff like that. They have this one start, right, where they go off as like a 6-5 favorite, 9-5 even money, something like that. And they just never fire. They finish 6th place. There's not a lot there. And then you look at the program as they're getting ready for their big race, right in the small letters next to the race, it says needed starts. And what that means is the horse has to get familiar with the track. They have to, it's been a while since they did the post parade and saw all the people on the track and the starting gate and everything that goes with, game day. Same thing with the Golden Knights here. First time they had a relatively healthy lineup, less Will Carrier now, since January the 12th. It's a long time. Mark Stone has not had game activity in a long time. Zach Whitecloud had what we thought was a season-ending injury. He misses, last week and a half or something like that. So, they got the band back together. They needed the starts, and it was bad, guys. It was bad, but it's okay. Now we get to adjust. Now we get Mark Stone after having a full game of game activity. Now Whitecloud's a little more familiar. And Cassidy's been spinning the right dials this season as far as adjustments and stuff goes. We'll hit that later in the show, but just no one in the history of the NHL has won or lost a 7-game series in game one.
I want to get right into Mark Stone. Okay, so forget about a pitch count, though. I did not like the way Cassidy used him. Okay,
when did he officially go to line one? Was it in the second or was it?
It was
sometime in the first.
In the second, I felt,
okay,
because that's when they started to jumble the lines, and that's when Carlson scored the goal. Of course, Barbashev
from Barbashev,
yeah, with him and Marcia. And so as soon as Cassidy jumbled the lines, because they weren't firing out, if you want to use a horse racing analogy, again, so he played 21 minutes, 28 seconds. Okay, that's not the way that you should utilize Mark Stone coming back. Okay, he had more time on the ice than Jack Eichel. I went through the numbers last night. Why? He played 23 shifts. And here's a player that's coming back off of 39 games, a layoff and the back surgery. And it was awful. And I sort of put a little bit of the blame on Stone during the shift change, which led to the second goal. Again, the line change was coming back, but he was late getting on the ice.
Thank you.
He just doesn't have that explosiveness. But again, this falls on Cassidy for utilizing Mark Stone the wrong way. Absolutely, he should have played fewer minutes last night. There's no doubt.
It's fair, but Bruce Cassidy did state during the week in one of the pressers that he is not aware of any pitch counts or minutes or shift total or anything like that Mark Stone was going to be under after he was cleared. His comment was and again, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it was, I'm not aware of there going to be any pitch count or anything like that beyond the fact that he hasn't, seen game activity in, 3 months or something like that. So, it's what a turnaround, guys. What a turnaround for Mark Stone, right? He was injured all this time. And just the timing, boom, the playoffs are here and he's not on a pitch count and stuff. That's a drum that I'm kind of still going to keep banging, but I understand the people saying other things about that whole situation. So it is what it is. And listen, Mark Stone, he needed the start. We'll go back to the horses. He needed the start. He needed the minutes. And as long as he can get through them healthy, then sure. I don't think Mark Stone was much of a factor last night. The first 2 goals were just strange, transition type situations where it felt like the forwards were late getting back. So I didn't like where he put himself on the first goal that Winnipeg ultimately got. And, it's game one of the playoffs. There's distractions. It's like game one of the regular season, right? With all these different types of things that they do and all of that. And, I keep on stressing it's game one. It's game one. And here's another thing. As far as now every team has played one playoff game. The higher seeded teams are 2-6 right now. They're 2-6. I'm assuming the Avs. I didn't look. I'm assuming the Avs lost last night to the Kraken. I did not verify that.
So Colorado lost. Edmonton lost. VGK lost. Wow.
Yeah, and then on the other side, New Jersey lost. Toronto lost, which is the least shocking thing in the world. But and there was one other lower seeded. So point being is this is the playoffs. It's unpredictable. And VGK earned their seed, and they earned that for a lot of reasons. And Cassidy finding a way to make adjustments and get the most out of his team is one of those things that got the Golden Knights to the top seed in the West. So Thursday's a new day, folks. Thursday's a new day.
We pretty much like Cassidy. However, the post game, and this was just the tone of Cassidy's voice was, how in the world did we lose to that team? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything negative about them, credit them. But no, I was getting that kind of feel and those kind of vibes. And I didn't like that. I just didn't like the way that he was approaching that loss last night for one. And this was shades of the bubble in 2020. Once again, Rick Bowness. No, seriously. Remember, see, this was something I talked about on the crossover. We discussed this last week coming into the playoffs. Very concerned about the Vegas Golden Knights scoring goals postseason. I was very concerned. VGK scored 8 goals in 5 games in the bubble. Rick Bowness had a plan. He knew that to shut down the VGK, you clog up the stinking neutral zone. And VGK lost that series 4-1. That's my concern, Chris.
No, it's so he was coaching the Stars then, is what you're telling me, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
fair enough. That's an angle that I didn't even know, and that's a great point that you just made right there. So VGK, we talked about this throughout the season, has had trouble when teams clog up the neutral zone. If there was a light positive, I'll take last night. Line 4 was willing to get the pucks deep and go and chase them. Lines 1, 2, and 3, they're trying to dance it in. They're trying to walk it in. They're trying these little give and go type things. You got to get dirty. You got to get dirty. You got to, fight fire with fire for a little bit. And, let's go back to the Los Angeles Kings game where the Golden Knights just crushed them, for lack of a better term, in the last, I don't know, game 76 or whatever it was. The Kings were just like the Jets, if not better than the Jets as far as clogging up the neutral zone goes. VGK got some early goals, so the game opened up, but they were still willing to chip and chase. They were willing to do different things. And listen, you dump and chase the puck, 15 times in the first period, just throwing an idea out here. It's not going to work, right? It's not going to work 12 of the times. Winnipeg's going to get it, get their rush or something like that. But if the forwards are doing their job, getting those checks and finishing those checks in the corner, it will wear down the defense to the point where, all of a sudden now they're playing a little different in the neutral zone because they're tired of getting hit in the corner. They're just tired of getting pounded. And can VGK make that type of adjustments? And that is an area of opportunity where they have struggled a little bit in the season. So if they're not willing to go and get dirty and, or as Cassidy says, get inside or, all these cliche things we hear throughout the season, then this will be a problem. If they can find creative ways to do a combination of chip and chase at the right time while also trying some finesse plays across the blue line. Okay, I'm okay with that. But, what happened on Tuesday didn't work. Cassidy's got my trust on figuring this out and righting the ship on Thursday, though. I think we're going to be just fine, folks. We're going to be just fine. No, in the playoffs, listen, we can do cliche, right? Tony, we lost home ice. Okay, fine. You're not in trouble in the playoffs till you lose at home. Okay, fine. My perspective on the playoffs, talk to me after game 4. Talk to me after game 4 because it's probably going to be 2-2 no matter how you spin this thing. Talk to me after game 4. Whoever wins game 5, that's when you can maybe start. Okay, now we're starting to get a little concerned here, one way or the other.
We saw a mad scramble in the first period in front of the net.
I saw that replay. Good Lord.
One that resulted in Morgan Barron getting 75 stitches. And you talk about a man.
Did he miss a shift?
He came back in the second period. He was out in the first, gets everything stitched up.
He got 75 stitches and came back.
75 stitches.
I love hockey players. I know.
I know. He came back with the shield. He came back with the shield too.
Of course he did.
Well, he got cut because there was everyone diving and going after the puck, and he caught a piece of Laurent Brossois.
He probably got the heel. He probably got the heel of the skate, is what it looked like.
Oh my goodness.
So let's credit Stevenson in this here, obviously, and I'm not talking about the hockey player or anything like that. Stevenson was on top of Barron, not like pushing his head or anything like that, folks. But the second Stevenson saw something was wrong, he immediately kind of pulled him back, pulled himself off, and he was a good Samaritan and all that, I guess you can say. So, credit the brotherhood of the players and stuff like that, looking out for each other, even in the most intense of times right there. And glad that he's okay. Glad that he was able to come back. This is, these are warriors, folks. These people are wired much differently. And it's one of the many reasons why hockey is a beautiful sport. Not all the blood on the ice. That was a little gory, but that happens. That happens.
On Brossois' skate too. Gross. Keegan Colasar.
It's like the bloody sock from the World Series.
Keegan Colasar's boarding penalty at the end of the game.
Yeah, well,
that's not going to set the tone going into game 2. Okay.
Yeah, the ESPN and Kevin Weeks, they were trying to make something out of that. Just call it what it is. They were playing loser hockey. They did something dumb and took a dumb penalty.
Stupid. Just you know what?
Take your loss. Take the L. Take the L. Take the L.
I think that was something with intent to try to get this team motivated for the second game. And
but do that stuff early in the game then.
Exactly.
It wasn't just the vibe was just so strange. And this wasn't even Winnipeg muddying up the neutral zone, just the breakouts and stuff. Like White Cloud in the third just gets bumped right off the puck behind the nets. And maybe it was credit to them. I don't know, but it was very choppy and both sides for a little bit too. It just had like a strange kind of beer league feel where there's hacking at the puck and it's on edge the whole time. Bad ice, maybe. I don't know. It just didn't look good. And so what? It's game 1, folks. It's game 1. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be just fine.
Well, they're gonna have to get more than 17 shots on goal too.
God, that
was a season low. Believe that?
Yeah, no, it all went bad, guys. It all went bad. And if you're trying to, if we're going to take some positives, White Cloud finished the game. We're going to take another positive. Mark Stone finished the game. Brossois, not his best game. I mean, I didn't mind the first two goals, that backhand goal that, basically made it a 2-goal game again in the third.
That was a beaut.
That was soft. That was a
Okay.
little soft. I think he wants that one back, I think. The fifth goal, I don't care about. That's what the game's over at that point.
Well, but the fifth goal, though, the fifth goal to me was a lack of any effort. That really stood out
VGK
in
should
my
finish the
mind.
game. You should finish the game if that's what you're getting at. Yeah, finish the game.
On a power
Don't
play,
give them
they just
any
were-
more reason to celebrate on your ice. I mean,
give them more
listen,
momentum.
VGK was booing. The fans were booing him last night on the power plays too. That's another thing I'm sure we'll hit on in the second or third segment. Anywhere we want to crush on that.
Yeah, we can definitely crush on that. When we return, we're going to talk about maybe for the matter of VGK overlooking Winnipeg last night, were the Golden Knights prepared for this game? We'll discuss that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Buying tickets to your favorite event should not be stressful, and Gametime is fast and easy. It's an easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you could stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun that you will have. And again, when you look through the app, and I did yesterday, I wanted to see the pricing on the VGK tickets. You could have gotten them as low as $79 or $89 very late per ticket in the 200s, which was not so bad. Get in the building, folks. And it beats that $50 ticket for standing room only. In any event, Gametime's the place to go for your last-minute ticket deals. So forget about planning months in advance. We never do that. Gametime has the deals on tickets right up until the day of the event. So that's why I was checking out late last night some of the prices, some of the numbers on tickets for the VGK game, and you can do the same. And the Gametime guarantee means that you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. You just buy tickets in a matter of seconds. Snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. So right now, go and download the Gametime app. All you need to do is create an account, utilize the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. And Chris is just thawing out from his trip to Reno. I saw the snow. Oh my goodness, no.
Yeah, I woke up Tuesday morning. We knew it was going to snow. First of all, I was actually working late Monday. I was uploading the podcast you did, the crossover and stuff like that, like midnight, 1 a.m, and the wind was, I was on like the 30-something floor of Silver Legacy, and the wind, I mean, we had 80-mile-an-hour gusts going. That thing was just whipping against the glass and stuff. And I wish I would have woke up while it was snowing. I fell asleep probably before it started, and I woke up like, oh, there's some snow down there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really felt like hockey season up there. Biggest question was something that you wanted to discuss. Segment 2 was VGK prepared, or did the Winnipeg Jets just simply outplay the Golden Knights last night?
Well, the Jets definitely outplayed us. Anytime we say something, you cannot discredit Winnipeg's effort whatsoever. And, all the fans that don't want to do that, I just don't understand. The Jets played a good game, and it's okay. It's okay to tip your hat. Good game, Jets. That's why it's a 7-game series. And then obviously you break down why this happened. And we're 0-1 since adopting a goldfish and having a dragon now. Apparently. We have a dragon now. We have all sorts of
this long to talk about the goldfish.
It did. Yeah, it did. I didn't want to get too off the rails. Maybe if you would ask me less about Reno and less about my drinking habits, I might have snuck it in there. But it's all good. So you wonder what happened. So me and Tony were lightly hitting on this on Twitter and stuff like that. You got Cassidy doing his quick little "let's go" video. How long does something like that take? How long did it take him to work on that Goldie thing? And it's not even just the hype and the promo shoots that happen. You just wonder if that stuff plays in or not to all this, because there's so much hoopla. And also, this might not be a thing that's unique to the Golden Knights. All the teams might do this. I don't know. Maybe this is where it's an advantage to be on the road for the first series in the playoffs. Although, going back to season 1, I don't recall, like, we didn't see a Gerard Gallant let's go video. I don't recall seeing a lot of different things in the pregame or, weird promos leading up to the playoffs that the players were involved in. So, you do wonder about all that. And then this does trigger some memories earlier in the season, especially in the middle third of the season when VGK was having a hard time getting up for specifically home games. Is this the first game back off of the road trip vibe, right? We ended in Seattle the previous Thursday. So we had Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all those days in Vegas for the team to just kind of relax and, get back to their home vibes and their, to-do lists around the house and all those things. And listen, family first, I get all that, but these are all different things that could play out to why the team maybe didn't have a good start last night. We obviously need to fix that right now, but where I was ultimately going is, this does trigger memories about this team not getting over the boards well, not starting well. And, there definitely felt like some lack of preparation, whether that's a practice thing, whether the team just didn't respond, whether Cassie didn't do his job, for lack of a better term. Who knows? But the ship needs to be, we got to right the ship before Thursday.
I think that one of the things, it might have been a hangover from celebrating everything and winning the conference.
If they celebrated that, then they need to. They should lose in the first round.
But also, everyone's taking those victory laps. I heard Kelly McCrimmon on the pregame show or on the podcast. They had a VGK state-owned, state-run podcast that I heard with Kelly McCrimmon. And
McCrimmon, state-owned or Canadian.
It's not over yet, folks. Like, just don't take the victory lap just yet. There's a long, long way to go. One of the things, we talked about a lack of effort. I mean, there was no fight in a team that had 11 comebacks. 11 third period comebacks.
I saw that stat last night. That was
that's concerning to me. That's concerning, right?
They didn't have fight from the drop, so it makes you think they're going to have fight in the third. I mean, call it what it is.
Yeah, you thought that they would rally back. I really did feel that they would come back.
I thought at least there would be effort. I thought there would be
a good
some
push,
hitting.
right?
I thought there would be some. I thought there would be some hustle, hitting, and never quitting. There you go for my sports card fans that listen to this show. You thought there would have been a lot more effort. I'm with you, Tony.
Okay, VGK power play. You wanted to get into that. They were 0 for 3 last night. Last 8 games, 2 for 22. And neither team's good on the power play. We talked about that on the crossover. I'm sure you too.
Okay.
No, seriously though, there was again, neither team very good on the power play. Winnipeg is known for its PK. I think they were 7th or 8th in the league this year. But wow.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the penalty kill. So when I was on with Gil doing the Locked On NHL hit for talking about the Golden Knights and what basically is going to, possibly hurt the Golden Knights. So the questions were twofold. It was, what's the biggest strength of the Golden Knights heading in? And I said, well, the health possibly, assuming all of our players are back. We recorded last Thursday, so we were unaware at that time what was going to be happening with Stone and White Cloud. And then he asked me what the biggest concern was. I said it's the same as what our biggest strength is, the health. And then I went right to the power play after that and mentioned that Cassidy, his time in Boston, he had some good power plays, but he also had some bad power plays. And this year, it's not been a good power play. I think we've been flirting around 20th all season, plus or minus. We did have a run where we got up in the top 10 for a while early in the season, and that didn't last, unfortunately. And, the one thing you say about the power play, beyond obviously you want to convert some goals, is it cannot be a momentum disruptor. If you're not going to score every power play, even Edmonton can't do it as good as they are. But when they don't score, they look just as good as when they do score. They're moving the puck. They're putting pressure on the defense. The defense is on their heels. They're wearing down the top defensive players that they're going against, which can pay dividends later on in the game. Watching the Golden Knights power plays, it was just bad. They had a late power play where they could have brought it back within a goal or at least had some good chances. And the passing was just terrible and no chances. And this isn't a Winnipeg Jets team playing good defense. Listen, okay, fine. Credit the Jets for whatever their game plan was for the VGK PK. But, if there's one thing you're not going to plan too hard for when you're playing the Golden Knights, it's your penalty kills. because the Golden Knights power play is just not that good right now. And they got to find a way to crack it. Or if they can't do it, it won't be a long run. Maybe they'll still get past the Jets, but they won't have that, high level of success we're hoping for. And right now, another question that Gil did ask me, what does success look like for the postseason right now? And early on in the season, I felt, okay, if they win a playoff series, maybe that's a good sign, whatever. And then now that we're conference, not conference champions, but we led the conference in points, the goalpost moves, the end zone moves, whatever terminology you want to use. This team's got to get to the conference final. Conference final, successful season. Anything less, we start asking questions.
A difficult first playoff game. Jack Eichel -3 in the contest. VGK hits. I know, right? VGK hits. They led 65-51. Jonathan Marchessault with 9 hits.
Okay, now that's good.
That's a little bit of effort. 65 hits. That's got to be a season high. And the forecheck was just not there, but they had 65 hits. I don't know where. Okay.
Yeah, no, it didn't look the part. But Marchessault, in my opinion, took a major leadership role specifically against the Jets in season 1. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because there was a game where Marchessault, I feel like it was like 17 or what the number was, but Marchessault led the team in hits, and they're good hits. Like, it's not just Marchessault rubbing his shoulder, and just, like a I hate to say it like this, but like a Keegan Colasar, push you into the boards, get that hit, stuff like that. Marchessault does effective hits. He doesn't inflict the pain necessarily that Colasar can when he wants to, but his job is to slow the player down when he's doing it, and they're effective. And, Marchessault, when he gets that little pit bull mentality going, he's a great player to have on the ice. And someone like Marchessault is not going to stand for this type of effort 2 games in a row. I feel pretty good about that.
Coming up next, we'll talk about adjustments VGK should make to level this series, hopefully on Thursday, of course, which is 420 day, the day of Mark Stone. You get it. More after this. Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every day. And let's talk about adjustments. Stay out of the box if you are VGK. 16 penalty minutes for the team that was in the box the least amount of time in the National Hockey League this past season. Theodore and Whitecloud, back-to-back penalties, just can't happen.
That's bad.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, and especially those 2 players, right? They're both going to be important parts of the penalty kill, and you just can't have an uncharacteristic performance in the playoffs. And, VGK effort is usually pretty good. VGK has been staying out of the box. And the characteristic part that we were used to was a bad power play.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you need to stop the Winnipeg Jets from going north and south. That's what they wanted to do. That was part of their game plan. How do they slow them down? Yeah, how do they slow them down?
Better line changes.
Not late
better line changes. This is the Cassidy system, right? Limits the odd man rushes. Isn't that what the system's all about? The bad line change, that's not a system thing. That's just a bad line change. Call that what it is. But, the first goal where they go low and wind up getting the slapper from the bumper, that was a rush situation. I believe that crazy scramble where Barron got cut was also off of a rush, if I'm not mistaken. They were talking about that as well. So, it's a lot of adjustments need to happen. And Cassidy, let's look at his playoff runs. He's had some deep runs. He's got a lot of experience in the playoffs. So let's trust Cassidy to find a way. I don't think it's going to be, I think we knew it was a matter of time until Stevenson, Eichel, and Stone wound up together. And I don't mind jumbling the lines and sticking with it and giving those players time to mesh, so to speak. Because if you keep on scrambling the lines, you don't know if you're going to find what you're trying to get, what you're trying to find. Line 1 is going to be Stone, Stevie, and Eichel, and we'll see if they can respond better. See if VGK can get the better matchups and things like that. Obviously, that gives you 2 real tough lines to match up against. So you can decide which of your top 2 lines you want playing against the other teams, third and fourth liners and, second and third D pairings and stuff like that. So, this is where line 3 also needs to hopefully find some soft spots, of course. And This is where playoff Kessel needs to earn his money right now.
I want to jumble the crease too. I think Aiden Hill beat Winnipeg 3 times. I think he was the goaltender all 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. Can we see Aiden Hill, if he's ready to come back in game number 2 on Thursday night?
I wonder why Aiden Hill is not backing up quick and has not down the stretch. Let me say this differently. I wonder why Aiden Hill has not been the backup and Jonathan Quick has, going back as soon as the Tuesday game last week against Seattle. Aiden Hill got his start against was it the Ontario Reign? Someone in the AHL, doesn't matter who it was an AHL start. He played 2 periods, got his pitch counts, got his shots in there. Didn't travel with the team, didn't play any more AHL games, but he continued practicing at a normal pace, whereas Logan Thompson has not. So now what's up here? Like, why Quick and not Aiden Hill? Oh, I know. It's Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy does not like Aiden Hill. We talked about this early in the season. There is some trust, something happening behind the scenes where Aiden Hill is not getting, the attention. I'm not saying we're changing our starters yet. Brossoit was very good last night. He gave the team a chance to win. He wasn't rock solid, but it wasn't if he just had one more save. Like, we're not talking about that type of effort, but having Aiden Hill behind in case you are going to make that change, probably a good thing. Because let's just say it goes from bad to worse, and Brossoit lets in 4 goals in the first. I don't want Quick starting game 3. I want Aiden Hill starting. So get Aiden Hill those reps on the ice, at least to get the NHL. He hasn't had any NHL game speed. God, how long has it been, Tony?
Yeah, it's been
2.5 months plus.
Yeah, at least, right? It seems
so talk
like
about a
over
horse
2 months.
needing to start. There you go.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I didn't think that Brossoit, he did the first period, yes, stood on his head. After that, I didn't think he played very, very well. Again, that's small.
Start. It was a fair start.
Yeah, but again, though, small sample size and an experienced coach and a team that knows how to play against him. So that's my concern a little bit too. And then
of course, that also very good. Shoot glove side. There you go, Tony.
There you go. I said one of the keys would be defensemen scoring. Okay, I felt that this could determine the series. No points. No points from the VGK Blue Liners. 3 points for the Jets defensemen. I'm going to keep a tally on this because they both play a little similar in their styles, and that they want the defensemen to join the rush. Nate Schmidt, who was booed last night. Come on, fans, get with it.
Why boo Nate Schmidt?
I know. That's the most likable guy on the planet.
Did he flush his goldfish down the toilet or something?
That's the line of the show.
Is he not a dragon guy?
Oh, my goodness. So Nate Schmidt had an assist. Pionk had him an assist. Josh Morrissey is frightening at times. He had an assist.
I like
76
Morrissey.
points.
I like Morrissey's
76
game.
points this season. And, could be the runner-up for the Norris. So, no, I just think that, the defenseman, that is one of my top keys, though, coming into this series. And you and I didn't get a chance to discuss this on the podcast, but we both said VGK in 6. And now I go from being Mr. Negative to the guy that is jinxing the VGK.
You can't win, Tony. You picked him to win last night. You can't win.
Yeah, I called for a split at home, though. I did.
No, you did. I mean, I think you went win-loss, and then obviously VGK would turn on. And, I thought VGK would be ready last night. I didn't think it was going to be this type of game. If they're going to lose, 2-1, 3-2 type of effort, so be it. I didn't think it was going to be one of those blank the bed type of performances, which is, call it what it is. And, like I said, I mean, it's a bad game. It's a bad game 1 of a 7-game series. You don't want to ever spot a team a game, which is basically what the VGK did. But, realistically, what were the chances of VGK going 3-1 or 4-0 in the first 4 games? Not very good. Some people are saying VGK in 5. Some of our VGK loyal listeners we're calling for a sweep, and it's not going to happen. It's just not how the playoffs work. The parity is too good. Both teams are too good, and Winnipeg is the 8th seed. Okay, fine, so be it. They didn't have as good of a regular season, but they're a good team. And, having to crack Connor Hellebuck, that's the tough task as well. And you hope they can find a way and open the floodgates and, get in his head a little bit, because that's going to be necessary. And you want some urgency the next time they come out. We need some, maybe some scraps early on, not fights, just, some rough stuff, and set the tone and send a message with hopefully a victory, and B, just pound the crap out of them for a little bit, because that's what playoff hockey needs to be.
Colasar just has a lack of timing. Yeah, that fight that just went sideways. Remember, he just tried to have a contrived fight earlier this season. The boarding penalty late in the game with a minute to go. It's like, if you're going to do this rough stuff, time it out just a little bit better where
Whenever
it's going
there's-
to be impactful.
Whenever there's a whistle, our forward just got to get in the crease and muddy it up. Maybe give a little bump to Hellebuck. Nothing bad, just a little something. Some like what they try to do with Fleury a couple
Well,
times.
to do that, you have
just
to put bodies in front of the
shenanigans. Just
net.
have some shenanigans.
You
Have
have
some
to put
shenanigans,
bodies
Tony.
in front of the net, though, to do that. And that's something that was lacking again for the VGK.
Eldorfiev already going to draw in game 2.
I'm concerned. I think most likely real fast.
He's watching the clock.
Yeah. Well, I was checking my head because it's a TMZ day. So I want to make sure my head doesn't look too big. Okay.
Oh, it's huge.
Out of Colorado, Edmonton, VGK. Do one of these teams fall to 0-2 in their series?
Edmonton.
Okay.
They're ahead.
Every
They're
day.
screwed.
Thanks for making Locked On Golden Knights your first listen tomorrow. More as we head into game number 2, the stoner game of the series between VGK and Winnipeg. For Chris Golick, Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. We'll see you again tomorrow right here. I got to find an angle on Locked On Golden Knights.